Hails and welcome to Rauta's Indie 5. We have once again 5 different styles, 5 different bands, 5 different releases. We have melodic death metal in the muddy style, speed metal, classic death metal, and then some kind of a doom death. So not exactly black metal oriented this time. Let's do it in alphabetical order and let's go through them quickly. First we go to Finland with Adventure Fire with Verikaste debut album. This is a band that has been releasing mostly single plus one demo in the previous years, and that kind of explains why this band is not exactly the most experienced so far, and unfortunately it kind of sounds true. Released already in 2021, this one is almost 1 hour long and features indeed the kind of melodic death metal flirting with a little bit of black metal aesthetics, as well as having a little bit of groove metal, thrash metal kind of parts, riffing and whatsoever here within the album. Now, first things first, this album is way too lengthy. Remove 1/3 and this could be more tolerable. The point here is, when you have material which is not outright really killing it, it's just going to, bore people, because it's not really sticking, it's not catchy, it's not well made and all that stuff. A lot of these melodies here on this album are something like, listenable, but very, very forgettable. It's almost like this album got out without being polished and honed to the max. That is like, okay, this song is good enough, let's just move on and get to another one. And that's unfortunately where this album fails. It fails to do good music. It fails to captivate. It fails to just, punch you in the face. It's more like some bitch slaps all over the parts, and you're like, okay, tell me when you're ready to punch and I'll pretend I'm hurt. Now, it's not outright bad, though. It's just a very lukewarm experience because, the production isn't really good. The vocals are, on the verge of getting better. I mean, they have the kind of a growler sense and all that stuff. But too much is too much, especially you're in for a lukewarm thing. Now then there is a couple of bonus tracks here, which you can notice. Heaven and Hell is a cover track. Pretty okay, but not necessary on this kind of album. And Don't Do, which is kind of a goofy take of some kind of a traditional folk song with just more brutal lyrics about maiming kids and all that stuff. You're like, yeah, very edgy, but why on earth it's over there? Now, if you're into melodic death metal with some groovier thrash metal and groove metal parts, give it a go, otherwise pass. Then we have a very, very traditional death metal one with Coffin Creep, Voids, second album if I'm not mistaken. This is very much leaning to very basics of the given genre. Let's go very traditional, have like a heavy riffing and basic growly vocals and all that stuff. Nothing out of ordinary, nothing mind-blowing, but very, very listenable in the sense. Now, it doesn't really make waves. Why so? Because this is the kind of stuff you probably heard a million times before. Now, mind you, this is not a bad thing in the sense like, whenever you lean to the very strong basics and you have the kind of material which can and will stand the test of time, then go for it. It's just more like work in progress, however. I mean, this lacks proper good material, like something like, wow, this is going to be a future classic or whatever. This is more like, on the road version. By that I mean you have already passed the demo phase, but you're not ready to make the, really killer album. So everything here is very, very listenable and to some degree, enjoyable. It's just kind of a heavy death metal that delivers those blows left and right, and you're like, yeah, I kind of get what these guys are doing, and I kind of like it, but something is missing. Something is missing versus the absolute classic ones in the given genre. So, once again, something that you might enjoy if you're old school, a little bit muddy death metal and going dark and all that stuff, but if you're looking for some hit material, go elsewhere. That is Coffin Creep with Voids is very much worth giving a go, but just don't expect too much. Then we have some blackened speed metal from Ecuador. This is the first release, if I'm not mistaken, from this band, and it's called Bloodlust. 20 minutes, only a handful of songs, and one could wonder why it's on Signal Rex, because, that is a label mostly known for raw end of black metal, not exactly speed metal, thrash metal, and all that stuff. Now, the reason is this band features a couple of members which are, band members from other projects. Then again, raw end of black metal, which kind of explains this. It's a black and speed metal release on a label that releases black metal mostly because these guys, their main band is more or less black metal. Now, Dungeon Steel is very much nodding to the past. That is 80s. They are having fun, clearly, with fast-paced songs and flirting with heavy metal and a little bit of trash. But this kind of, falls in between those extremities. It's not exactly as, say, focused as heavy metal, but it's not as heavy or intense as thrash metal. But it's fast, it's easy to listen to, but something along the lines tell me this is still in works. That is more like, let's quickly demo this stuff and get it out of the way so we can focus on this new stuff. And I guess this is overshadowed by the fact that these guys have other projects as well. So this is not something that you get out of, dedicating your time for, say, 5 years to an album, but more like, hey, I got these ideas which don't really fit our main band. Let's just go with them quickly and record it under a different moniker, and then we can get back to our main band. This is what I feel about Dungeon Steel. Very listenable and somewhat refreshing because this is so much more 80s than any of the current 2000s bands. But it's not top tier. Definitely still worth giving a shot. Then the best of the pile, I'm gonna reveal it right here, is Stormgrey from Lithuania with the second album DNA of Chaos. I'll be honest with you, with this cover and with this name, I was expecting some kind of Evergrey kind of stuff maybe, or some kind of a doomy rant, maybe heavy metal flirting. I mean, it sounds like a heavy metal name, is Stormgrey. Maybe some gothic darkness and all that stuff. Maybe dealing with adulthood problems and stuff like that with some catchy melodies and going slow paced and releasing some 70 minutes of music. And so wrong I was. This is actually good death metal coming from Lithuania. These guys are nodding to old Napalm Death, that is the death metal phase. This is infused with Sepultura's death metal ideas. This is nodding to Bolt Thrower with a lot of ideas, but mostly I guess this is reminding me of Obituary, that and Asphyx and all that stuff. So it's kind of a mid-tempo with faster parts of drumming as well, and doing that good kind of riffing with heavy sounding and good growly vocals. Everything is here in line, like, wow, these guys are nailing it. They're doing wonderful work with the stuff. I mean, the drummer is very, very basic. It's kind of unforgettable. Like, whether it's fast-paced, whether it's mid-tempo, everything is just pretty much like dun 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 kind of stuff. It's not technical and all that stuff. But the riffs, the vocals, and just overall feeling is like, yes, this is some, I hope, future death metal big names. So put Stormgrey behind your pair of ears or inside your mind or whatever compartment you mentally have. This is some good stuff, especially if you're a fan of the kind of a mid-tempo classics, especially if you're Obituary, Napalm Death, Sepultura, Asphyx and the like. This is definitely for you. So interesting death metal release in my opinion, and very, very positive about it. Last but not least, once again, we have a band from Florida, United States of America. This one is Warm with Foreverglade. That name might seem very nature-inspired, and that it is exactly what's going on, because this one comes from the swampier sides of Florida with a combination of doom and death metal mostly. Some say doom, death, black, but to be honest, black metal is only here in terms of this kind of a sinister atmosphere. Hello, say hello to Iron Maiden here, by the way. Those screamier vocals. Not all the vocals are screamy, however, it's more like combination of death metal growliness and black metal screaminess, and that which is what you combine with, doom and death metal. Very heavy, very dark, and just kind of a crushing, oppressing, and all that stuff. Now, in the sense of heaviness, I guess this could go as much as, 5 stars, or at least 4 out of 5. And same goes for the rather dark atmosphere here. I mean, there's definitely kind of a black metal aesthetic still in play, and that's, I guess, where the band is coming from. They do have some kind of a black metal past. But if you're expecting any kind of a real black metal with this album, you're mistaken. Go for death, doom, and you're pretty much ready to go. So how's the songwriting? It's a hit and miss. Let's be honest about it. This is to some degree quite enjoyable. And there are moments when you feel like, yeah, they're really going on, but they're kind of lacking the momentum, the drive, the forte, which is there to get like killer death metal riffs and then go for the funeral doom heaviness and all that stuff. Now it's just like figuring out which way to go, and then having those blackmail screams as a kind of a curveball, like, hey, what do you think about that? Didn't see that one coming, Death Doom audience. And people are like, okay, maybe not something that I was expecting or hoping for, but maybe they do have their place. Now, I am coming from black and death metal territory, and I still find these kind of a hybrids a little bit like confusing. Not in a good way, mind you, but they are tolerable. But that being said, this is something that I would say goes in the middle. Not exactly good, not exactly mediocrity, but something like decent. So here you are with Warm and Foreverglade. Now, since I already revealed the best in the pile, I'll just recap it. Stormgrey, pick this one if you have time only for one album in the given pile here. And you will find links in the description box. Go and listen to them. Some of them are worth your time, not most of them anyway. Okay, thanks for your time, and looking forward to your comments, opinions, questions, or whatever. Put them in the comments box below, and I'll get back to you. Bye-bye.